to make this session be beneficial to you so that you'll be able to better support your student. I have to give all the credit for this idea to our Community Engagement Council. When we had a meeting, they mentioned that some of the parents said they'd like to learn more about Schoology or about PowerSchool, and that helped us brainstorm and begin this session. And so thank you again for joining us, and I hope this will be beneficial.
Thank you, Leanne. And I want to make one other quick update and reminder for you before I hand it over to Steve to begin the tutorial. And that is, if you do have a question about something as Steve is making this presentation, then please go ahead and put it down there in the chat box. I will monitor those questions as they come. And if you do have something that is pertinent to what Steve is presenting, we can try and address it at the time, but we will go over the other questions at the end of the session. So with that said, let me introduce our instructional technology coach, Steve Spradlin, who will teach you how to use both platforms. Steve, good evening. And Steve, we can't hear you yet if you are still muted.
There you go. We good?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. I'm doing a little screen maintenance here, getting ready to go. All right. So this evening, we're going to talk about software access for parents and specifically PowerSchool and Schoology. And I want to kind of talk about the differences in those two pieces of software, what they're made for, what they do, and how you as parents can use them. So I'm going to kind of explain both pieces of software. We're going to take a test drive through each piece of software, and then I'm going to tell you how you can log in as well. So that's kind of the flow we're going to go with. So when we look at PowerSchool and Schoology, one question people might have is, okay, which one do I use? Why is there two of them? Well, there's two pieces of software because they kind of do two different things. So PowerSchool is our student information system. So that's where you register your child. That's where we take attendance every day. That's where grades end up. That's what prints report cards, transcripts. Most of your student information exists in PowerSchool. And that's important because that's what talks to Schoology. That's what talks to state reporting. That's what talks to other pieces of software. So that PowerSchool, that student information system, is kind of the hub. It's the middle of the wheel that talks to all those other pieces of software. So that's why it's really, really important. Now, as a parent, what does PowerSchool do for you? We're specifically going to talk about the PowerSchool Parent Portal this evening. And specifically what you can do in that portal is really you're going to go check grades. You're going to check attendance. You can have some grade reports sent to you. You can check account balances, things like that. So if I'm checking grades and attendance in PowerSchool, why do I need Schoology? Well, Schoology is our learning management system, LMS. And so for lack of a better term, it's kind of like the classroom website. This is where information is going to be delivered from students to teachers, or from teachers to students, and then from students back to teachers. We can make assignments in Schoology. We can take tests in Schoology. You're going to find the instructions of assignments in Schoology, video links, classwork. You're going to see feedback and information for the school in Schoology. So they kind of work together because you can go into PowerSchool and see, hey, Johnny got an F on a test. You can go into Schoology and see that test and see Johnny's actual submission in Schoology. So it's kind of nice. It gives you a full picture as a parent. I know when I used to teach science, we would always get questions about the science fair and how big of a grade that was. Well, I put my science fair packet in Schoology so students and parents can see that all year long. They can see the parameters, the rubrics, the information, all of that. So that's what makes Schoology important. It's SIS and LMS. So let's start the evening talking about how we sign into PowerSchool as a parent and how we sign up. And so here's how we're going to do that. You'll first get a letter or you'll get information from your school. And I know last year those were sent out in a letter by the secretary at the school. And you can request this information from your secretary, building secretary, if you don't already have this. And what you'll get is an access ID and an access password for your student. Now, how you're going to do this, how you're going to set this up is you're going to go to muncie.powerschool.com. and you're going to click create an account if you've not already done so. You're going to make your own account. Now here's the important part. That access ID and access password we give you, you're not going to use yet. You're going to put your name, your email, your username, and your password, your information for your account. And then we're going to scroll to the bottom where it says link to student's account. And that access ID and access password provided by the school is what's going to link you to your child's information in PowerSchool. And I know right now you're saying, I need to see it. That's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. So let me get out of this screen. Let's go to muncie.powerschool.com. And here's the original student and parent sign in. We're going to click create an account, and then we're going to click create an account once more. So when we do this the very first time, you put your parent name, your email, your desired username. This is your account. This is not something we're going to give you and we have your information. This is yours. You create that, whatever is easy for you to access. So that's what you put up here. Now that access ID and access password provided to you by the school, that's where we put it down here, where it says link to student's account. You'll put your child's name, you'll put the access ID, access password, you'll choose the relationship. And as you can see, you can connect more than one student. And then we come down to the bottom, click enter, and you've created your account and you've connected to a student. So quick recap of what I just said there. You're going to first come to muncie.powerschool.com, click create an account, create your own account with your own information, and use that access ID and access password to connect to your students. So once we've done that, I'm going to sign in here as test parent. Let's see if I can get my password first time. We are rocking and rolling. And here's where I land when I signed in as a parent. The very first thing I see is current grades and attendance. And this is probably what you're going to come into PowerSchool most for. So made my account, I've connected to my students. My student's name is test student, very creatively named up here. So you see I have student test. If I had other students, there would be tabs right across this blue bar for all my other students. But right now we are defaulted to test J student. I can see test J students courses. I can see their grades in each course. And then I can come down here and see attendance. I see an absence and tardy summary over here to the right too. Now, probably the first question that comes to my mind is, okay, cool. I see 100%. I see an A over here in quarter 2 for this class for health. 100%. Wow, they did really well. I want to see the actual assignments. If I come click these blue letters and numbers over here that's hyperlinked, when I click that A100 over here, it's going to open all the individual assignments for this class. Might take a few seconds. And then I can go through and see all the assignments for that student. What they did, what they didn't do, what they did well, and this student did well on everything. And then if there are any comments for each individual assignment, I could click view over here and see comments as well. And I think in this teacher's classes, we'll actually be able to see, in some of the assignments, you'll be able to see descriptions of what the assignment is. So you're literally just seeing grades for the assignments. That's kind of where Schoology comes in. You can go see more of that assignment and more of the parameters of that assignment. So I'm going to click grades and attendance and come right back to the landing page, the main page here in PowerSchool. And again, that's that first tab we land on. There are my grades. There are my grades by quarter, and there's my attendance. And I can click any one of these grades to see a further detailed information about it. Now, I'm going to jump ahead slightly. We have 3 tabs over here on the left side about report cards and transcripts. Now, we don't use these here because we print those off at school. But if you would ever need a grade report, you can stay right here on this grade and attendance screen. And you can come up to the top right and click print screen. And it will print a fairly decent grade report for you if you need to take somewhere. Once again, mine's taking a second to load, but there we go. I've got a fairly decent grade report for that student that I can give to someone, email to someone, or have a paper copy if I need it. I'm going to click cancel on that. So that's grades and attendance. Now, grade history, if we click here, this will allow you to go back and see previous school years if you would need to. So you can go back right in this. I think we've had PowerSchool for about 3-4 years, so that's why we have 3 years of information there. Locker information, we're not using lockers at Muncie Central right now, so there are no lockers here due to COVID, but this is where you'd find locker number and locker combo. If we come down to attendance history, you're going to get a bigger page, a bigger view of attendance, so you can see a much broader range. That might be important information for you. And I'm going to skip email notification for a second, because it's my favorite. I'll come back to it. So right here, we'll see teacher comments, and right here would be school bulletin. If teachers and schools use those, a lot of our teachers will make comments, make updates, or schools will post updates in Schoology. So that's where you're going to see a lot of that information. So you might not see that stuff when you click it on your child in here, because teachers might be using another piece of software or sending home a newsletter or emailing a newsletter to you. Class registration will show you class options for a student, and then balance is pretty important too. If you click balance, you can see their account balance for lunch and school textbook fees and those sorts of things. And then I also like the My Schedule tab down here. The My Schedule tab will show you the block schedule, or how the schedule is set up right now. And this is really important right now for secondary schools because they are on a block schedule. So you can see what class they are in on different days. Final two tabs over here, school information you probably already know, the address and phone number of the school, and then account preferences. So account preferences where you can change your email if you need to, but more importantly, you can change your password if you need to as well, and email. But more importantly, this student tab right here is where you can add other students. If you didn't add other students when you initially made your account, that's fine. You can go in here and add another student by clicking the add button over here and add them right to your account. Now, as promised, I'm going back to email notification. This is probably my favorite little piece in here. When you go to email notification, you can set this to automatically email you whatever kind of information you want to the account that you signed up with. So I set for mine summary of grades and attendance, and I chose it to do daily when I made this test. And I forgot to click that off actually. And so for the last 2 days, I've been getting emails from my test student. That's kind of nice. You can have it send you grades and attendance, school announcements, whatever you want to check here. You can have it sent to you to your email at your chosen interval. Now, the other cool thing about this is you can add additional email addresses here. So if you have another guardian or another parent or a grandparent or a coach or an employer or someone who needs to see student grade information, but you don't want them to have an account, you don't want them to have too much, you can actually put their email in here and have this send to them that grade information as well. So it's really nice if you need to share grades with somebody else. I think I have a sample here of what it looks like. Now, here's the one I sent myself a few days ago. And it's a simple little report. But if you forget to jump into PowerSchool, if you forget to go check on that, you can have it emailed to you weekly, or like I said, email it to somebody else. So let's do a quick recap of PowerSchool. I'm going to go all the way back here. Just so I can recap the sign-on instructions. We're going to go to muncie.powerschool.com. You're going to create your own account the first time. You're going to put your name, your email, your username, and your password in there. You're going to scroll down to link to student's account, and that's where you're going to put that access ID and access password provided to you by a school secretary. And then you can sign into PowerSchool. So when we land in PowerSchool, that first page is probably the most important and where you're going to spend most of your time. It's grades and attendance. I can see grades. I can click the individual letter grade or percent here to go into the class and see actual assignment grades and view any messages or notes onto those grades as well. I can see absences and tardies here as well. We talked about locker room information and grade history might be important. And then we talked about how to use this print screen button if we need to print this for something. Attendance history will show you a broader view of attendance. And then there's that email notification. That's probably the best way to get grades to yourself, is just set an email notification. And one thing I guess I didn't point out, let's say you don't want to send it to you daily or weekly or whatever. You just want that report right now. Click this little button down here that says send now for this student test and click submit. And that will send that report to you right now. So maybe you don't want to set a frequency. You just want it to come to you right now. You can do that too. I didn't say that earlier. Teacher comments and school bulletin. We're going to see most of that in Schoology. Class registration will show you the class offerings of that building. There's your account balance. My schedule is nice to see what's going on with block scheduling, school information, and then finally the account preferences. Change your password if you need to, change your email if you need to, add additional children if you need to. All right, so let's come back to this presentation a little bit. And so what about support for PowerSchool? Well, your first line of support is going to be your building secretary. Those are the folks you talk to often. Those are the folks you give information to, you've registered with. They're the folks who know you. They can provide you with that access ID and access password if you need that. They can also verify your username and email account. Secretary can open your account and see if you forget which email address you used to make your parent account. They can see that on their end, and they can verify the username you made too. So even though you're making your own account, if you forget those two pieces of information, they can help you with that. And they can also reset your password if necessary. They'll send you, it'll make it a temporary password, and then it will force you the next time you log in to make your own password so no one else has your password information. And then they're really good about getting a hold of IT or someone else if they need further assistance on that. And then, as always, if there's a technical issue where something's just not working technically, we've got an email down here, support@muncieschools.org, and someone in IT can help you with that. So that's PowerSchool in a nutshell. We're getting there to check grades, we're checking attendance, and we're having that stuff emailed to us. PowerSchool is important because that ultimately is where your report card comes from. Even though we're doing assignments in Schoology, all that's going to sync to PowerSchool. That's where the report card comes from. Occasionally, we have some teachers that they might be doing a pencil paper assignment and they might just put it straight into PowerSchool, and it might not be in Schoology. So that's why PowerSchool is so important too. That's the hub of that wheel. All right. So let's move on to Schoology. So Schoology is very similar in signing up for your parent account. You're going to go to Schoology.com. You're going to choose to sign up. You're going to select parent, and then you'll have a parent access code. So again, you're going to make your own account with your own email, username, and password, but you'll use that parent access code to connect to your student. For Schoology, this is provided to you by your child's teacher. I showed teachers earlier this year how to go to their members list and see the parent access code for each child, and that access code is what's going to allow you to connect to your student and see what they see in Schoology. You're going to click register once you've done that, and then you can sign in with your new account at Schoology.com. I got to remind myself to breathe every now and then. I talk pretty fast. So let's go back here. I'm at Schoology.com. I'm going to click sign up as a parent, and then it's going to ask me for that access code provided to me by my child's teacher. Once I put that in there, I can then create my own account and sign into Schoology. All right. So now I'm going to look at logging in for Schoology. So I'm going to sign in here as Father Schoology, and hopefully I remember my information here. Oh, got to spell school right. All right, so I'm going to sign in as Father Schoology, and perfect. So the first thing I want to point out is this little bar here that says you are viewing as Schoology. I think that's set that way because that's how I logged out last. You might jump in, you might land in Schoology, and it might look like this. It might be Father Schoology. So here's why I point that out. If I go click courses as Father Schoology, there are none because Father Schoology is not enrolled in any courses. Now you could make parent courses. Someone could make a PTO course or a PTO group or something like that. But by default, you're not enrolled in any classes. So what we're going to do, though, is we're going to come up here to the top right where it says Father Schoology, and we're going to choose the child that we're looking for. Now, first thing I want you to notice is right under Susie Schoology is add a child. You can add other students here if you have other students and you have their parent access code as well. So I'm going to click Susie Schoology, and we're going to see this as Susie Schoology. Now, I want to say one thing right away. We'll go off the script here a little bit. So having a parent account in PowerSchool and Schoology is nice because you can sign in on your own. You can have your own username and password and see what your kids are doing. But I think a valuable tool as well is to sit down with Susie Schoology and say, hey, show me what you're doing in Schoology today. Show me what your class is doing, and have them walk you through it too. Every teacher's classes are going to look slightly different. As I said before, for lack of a better term, it's like a classroom web page. So different teachers organize it different. They put different content on there. So a really good strategy, in my opinion, is have your child walk you through it as well. Your account's going to allow you to go look at it when they're not around, but it's nice to have them walk you through it as well. On my way here tonight, I started thinking about open houses when we used to have, back in the day before COVID, when we used to have open houses, and you'd walk into the open house with your child and they would run over to show you their desk. And here's where my desk is. And here's where I eat lunch. And here's where I do art. And here's where I do this. I think the same could be done with Schoology and digital learning too. Sit down with your child and have them show me, hey, here's my art class. Here's what we're doing. Hey, here's my science class. Here's what we're doing. Hey, here's the test I did for spelling today. So I think that's valuable as well. But with a parent account, you can sign in and you get a view-only look as Suzy Schoology. First thing I see here in the middle of my screen are the assignments I did today as Suzy Schoology, so I had something to demo for you. And then you see updates and posts for every course and building and group the student is a part of. So since this student is at Northside Middle School, when Miss Lucy posts sports pictures, they're right here. Coding Club, it's right here. Mr. Grimm's got some posts in here. Northside, they do a really great job of putting daily announcements, birthdays. I think there's a post down here from Mr. Harder about there's a really cool one from Mr. Deniston. There's one down here about a coding club or something. Oh, an AV tech club coming. All that information from that school is going to be posted right here. So as a parent, that's kind of nice too. You can jump in as that teacher and see if there's a schedule change or if there's when the dance is or how much tickets and all those things. So that's really kind of nice too, just being able to see that information from that school. The other thing you can see on this main page is all of Suzy Schoology's overdue work. Since she's a fake student, I've not done all this work, so there's lots of overdue work. This can be a good place to go look for things that a student needs to do in Schoology. If we scroll down past all of Suzy's overdue work, we will also see her upcoming work. And so when teachers put a date on things in Schoology, it will show you that it's coming up. And you'll notice that all of these things are hyperlinked. I can click these and I can go into the assignment. I can see what it looks like. If it's a test, I can see what the student has submitted. I can see their grade if they've already done it, but I can see all their assignments here. Now, I'm not going to click those right now because there's two other places I can find that as well. I can also click the calendar. That whole list on the side can be daunting sometimes. Sometimes we have old assignments or things that weren't graded and we're like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff over there. The calendar is nice too. So you see for Suzy Schoology, tomorrow she has a personal narrative due. So if I click this from the calendar, it will bring up a small screen of this assignment. And if I click view assignment, what do you know? That's not good. Quick refresh, there we go. Quick refresh and it pops up for me. And I see the personal narrative assignment. I see the rubric that the teacher is using to grade it. And then I see that Suzy has actually already submitted her copy of it. I'm going to go click the submission here. And it should come up. I made some marks on this earlier. It should come up and show you some marks that I, as the teacher, have made on here. Oh, I lost my marks. Probably because I resubmitted it. But you'll also see over here the note that says, I would like you to redo this. And there's a little video recording of me asking Suzy to redo this. And yeah, that's why I lost my marks, because I unsubmitted it so she could redo it. So you can go in and see the actual assignments and see the grades and see the rubric. And here's the actual rules right here. Again, I go back to that science fair thing where we know science fairs do, but it would be nice to see the rules, the rubric right there in front of us. So I'm going to come up here to the top left corner and click Northside Middle School. I'm going to do that because it takes me back to that home page. It takes me back to that feed. I'm going to sign right back here to Suzy Schoology. And I want to do a quick recap. And that recap is in the middle of our screen. Here's our feed. Here's the things that Suzy has submitted this week. Here are the updates for the building. There's my overdue, and there's my upcoming assignments. Up here at the top, we talked about where to find the calendar to see those assignments as well. And I clicked into a few, but I also want to show you that you can click courses and actually see each individual course and how it's organized. So I can find that personal narrative assignment by looking in upcoming. I can find it in my calendar, and I can find it by simply clicking in the course too. And that assignment is in Mr. Spradlin's class here. And in Mr. Spradlin's class, you'll see my message as students walk in. And then in my folders, all my stuff exists. But over here out to the right, you'll see the things that are upcoming. It's also nice to point out, I had a teacher friend I was working with after school today, and she said a really good place to look for stuff too is just go to grades. If you go to grades, instead of having to look through all of those upcoming and due and here and there, you can click grades and it's going to show you a nice list too. And all of this is hyperlinked. I can click e-learning assignment, just like I'm about ready to. and it's going to open up this assignment from Susie Schoology. There we go. It's going to say Susie only spent 1 minute on it. 9 out of 15, 1 minute. I'm going to click view, and I can go in and see the actual questions that Susie got right and wrong. So you see why Schoology is kind of powerful, because not only does it give you that grade, you can actually go see that stuff itself. Now, my blue bar here, rather than going all the way back home, I'm going to follow my breadcrumbs back. I went to e-learning assignment, which is a quiz or a test, and it takes me right back to my elementary sample course. So I'm going to follow those breadcrumbs right back to my course. There it is. You'll see my message. You'll see what's coming up. The other thing I want to point out, I put on here this afternoon too, is when you're looking at things in Schoology, you're going to see these icons. This little guy means assignment right here. And that means they're going to either send or receive something back to the teacher. It might be a document. It might be just they have to go do something. There might not be a document attached at all. These two puzzle pieces here, the green and the blue, that's test, quiz, and assessment. They're the two test makers built in Schoology. So when you see one of those, it's probably a test or a quiz or assessment. Although it's a good place to make e-learning assignments and all kinds of other things, because the questions are built right in. And a lot of times those will grade for you, and you can see the grade results right there. On this last little guy is discussion. These are kind of fun to use on e-learning days too, because students can have a discussion. They can respond to a prompt. So I want to take you into a discussion to show you one other thing. So I made this discussion today, and my prompt was, should gaming be considered a sport? And I gave the kids the parameters. Here's exactly what you have to do. And this is the cool thing about Schoology. Rather than just seeing discussion from December 18th, you see the actual assignment. There's Susie's response. Yes, because I like gaming. Obviously, that didn't follow my parameters here. But what I wanted to show you is, as a parent, you are view only. You can only see Susie's stuff. You can't submit tests for her. You can't submit homework for her. And even on the discussion, you cannot see anyone else's posts. I posted here as another fake student and said, that's a stupid answer. You can't see that, though, because you can just see Susie's stuff. You're a parent kind of looking over Susie's shoulder, not at everybody else's stuff. So I wanted to point that out. I think that's the last thing I wanted to do in this little piece here. Yes. Okay. So we went in, we looked at her assignment, we looked at discussion, we even looked at this e-learning assessment and looked at the scores. If I go to courses, I'm going to kind of drive through a few other courses real quick. This is one of my friends at Northside. She does a really good job with this. And as I said before, different teachers set up their courses different ways. That's also why it's nice to do kind of a virtual open house where your child says, hey, here's where I go to find this, or here's where this is. Miss Collins puts the daily objective right here on her page every day. So as a parent, you pop in, you see exactly what they were doing in class today. She's got a folder for optional fun stuff. And then she's got a little quiz today. So different teachers organize their classes in different ways. If I go to my friend Miss Turner's class, I picked hers out because she's got her Zoom link right here. So when she does a class online, she's got the link right here that the kids can just simply click there and join. And then I like the fact she's got the online textbook right here too. The kids can click the textbook if they don't have that at home. And then she's got she's got a link to iReady. Often the kids are doing iReady activities, and she's got the link right there, and everything's organized in these nice, beautiful folders. So that's a lot. There's a lot under the hood when it comes to Schoology, but let's do a quick recap. So I'm going to click my school logo here to come back to the main page. And my quick recap, I think when you log in, go ahead and click as the student. First thing you do is click as the student. You will view as that student. You'll see the things they've done today. You'll see the things they have overdue. You'll see the things they have upcoming. My favorite part is this middle bit right here where you're seeing the announcements from the school coming right from Miss Lucy, birthdays, different clubs, all that sort of stuff. That's a great way to stay connected to the school. You can go to the calendar to see what's up for that student, to see what they're doing next. You can go into each course and look through each course to find grades, find assignments, and find what's coming up in that course as well. And the last thing I didn't point out earlier is grades. If you go to grades, I guess this is the fourth place we can find assignments. But if you go to grade report, and I go to my elementary sample class, it'll bring up the grades for that class right there. And I can see the assignments. They're hyperlinked, means I can click them and go look at the assignments. Whew. lot going on there, but it gives you a view of inside the classroom more than, hey, this test is tomorrow. It shows you the information, the study guide, all the stuff that goes into that test, into that classroom. So it's a great, great resource. So I want to jump back to this presentation. Let's talk a little bit about support for Schoology. So again, I think your first line of defense is a classroom teacher, and I say that because that's their content. They're putting tests, they're putting assignments. They're going to be able to explain to you why the assignment is worth this many points, or why Johnny has a 0 on the assignment, just like any other classwork. And then they can provide you that parent access code. And again, it's going to look a little different in every class because they're setting it up. Every teacher sets it up slightly different. Some have big pictures, some have buttons, some have videos. All those sorts of things. And the teachers are really good at getting a hold of me if there's a technical question that I can help them out with or help you out with. And then I have an email down here too, mcs.instructionalcoach@munseyschools.org. You can email me too for technical questions about that. Again, your teacher's going to answer, why is this test worth this many? Why is there a 0? But I can answer those technical questions. The last thing I want to point out, and I know I'm going fast, trying to get a lot of information in, is our website. If you've not already been to our website, with the help of Mr. Klotz this year, we've placed a lot of tools on there for you to say some of the stuff I've just said tonight too. If you come in here to student and parents, we have a tab that takes you right to PowerSchool. We have a new tab with some internet safety tips, but this Schoology tab is kind of my, whoop, and I clicked the wrong thing. Sorry, I hooked up a new mouse today. It's a little sensitive. If I click this Schoology tab right here, we've placed lots of stuff on here. An intro for parents. I actually made a 14-minute video of me going through as a student last year during quarantine. We have a parent software access guide, which goes through the directions again, how to make the accounts for both these two pieces of software. And then Schoology has a great help center that you can click there, and it gives you, it's question by, or topic by topic broken down. And there's some great videos in here for Schoology. So there's lots of good information on our website too. And I think that's about it. There's me, there's my email again, and then I know Mr. Klotz has been curating some questions, and I'm going to do my best to answer them for you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to close my mouth and listen.
Well, don't listen and not reply again, though, Steve. We do have one question regarding login credentials. Yep. And you only need one set of credentials to get in. Even into the apps as well, right? There's no re-logging in and creating another username or anything like that.
And one thing I wanted to point out earlier, and I missed it, there was an issue earlier this year with, and we talked about this before, about the email, trying to send an email notification in PowerSchool. That's been resolved, so that all should work now. But yeah, you're correct. If you've already been in PowerSchool, you already have a parent account, you can connect a different student to that later. You don't need to make another account. I think that's your question, right?
Yep. Yep.
Perfect.
Very good. Very good. And we'll try and give a minute or so if we have any other questions that come in. I have been asking for them though, and we have not received other questions just yet. Also, as a reminder, we will be posting this session on that page that Steve just pointed out on our website, which it's actually easier to remember as munseyschools.org. And then you'll be able to get to that tab real easily. And we'll put a link to this tutorial as well. So you can refer to it, start it, pause it, restart it at your leisure so that you can play with something that you're not sure of, hear Steve's instruction, and then go and do it on your own and come back to it if you like. So we will have that available for you as well.
Miss Ryder's not afraid to email me either, right, Amy? She's not afraid to email me either, so we talk.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, you're only going to get them through words tonight, since we've muted everybody else on the meeting. So nonetheless, if you don't have any other questions, I think that's a great recap. Dr. K, any parting words of wisdom tonight?
I would just like to, again, thank you for participating. We've given you email addresses. Now that I already know you know Steve's, that's great. But there's a help desk for our instructional technology department. So if you can email the IT department. Steve has provided his email. You can connect with the school secretary. So you have multiple avenues as you're trying to figure out technology in our systems to help you out.
Great. Thank you, Steve. Wonderful job. That is a lot of ground to cover in a short time, but you did it well, and we appreciate it. And Tony, you made us all feel better just by being there tonight. So thanks for that. So without further ado, thanks for joining this session, and please look for this to be posted by the end of the week on our website. All right. Thank you. Have a great night.